I'm outlining here the options that one can take when you're trying to move into a Salesforce implementation and you've got records that don't quite fit the record layout that Salesforce goes with. In this example, you've got a series of records which you have been using in a CRM in the account and contact fields, when really they are suspects. They are companies that and individuals that you haven't contacted and haven't contacted you, and you may be doing business with them in the future, but you don't have enough information. This record layout here shows that leads in the Salesforce world are flat. They have no distinction between an account and a contact. So you have one person, and that person exists at one company, and you don't know how to use more than one person who's at the same company, and you've got to figure out the pros and cons of when you're going to convert them into an account where there's one physical entity of a company and you've got multiple contacts. So how do you go from that? You can do it one of two ways. In any and all scenarios here, I'm going on the premise that you don't want to use account and keep a record as an account when it's only a lead. There are places out on the web where people advocate putting a record type in account, for example, calling type prospect and others, suspect, but having them sitting in your account and contact records, I think that's rather messy. So let's go with the example, really simple one here, that you have something like 800-900 records that are currently, most of them are individuals. Let's say less than a quarter of them would be considered even ones that you have that are ready to become an account that you would be in regular email contact with and a contact. So you've got mostly these records. However, the ratio of those individuals to companies is something like 2 to 1. So you have, on average, 2 persons for every company. And so you're trying to put those into a lead system, a lead object inside Salesforce that assumes that there's only one person per company, and that is your lead. So how do you swing that? So I've got 2 different ways to look at this, and I'm just going to open this record. I'm going to open it. Okay. So in the first one, one option that you can take is to have a manual squishing process where you're going to take each one of those accounts and you're going to pick one contact. So in other words, from in the top option, in contact 1, contact 2, contact 3, all from the same account, you're going to take contact 1 and you're going to squish it into lead number 1, and contact 2 and contact 3, unless they go to a miscellaneous text field, will cease to exist. Let's say that you put that into your leads object inside Salesforce. You think ahead, following some time and some marketing effort, there's going to be a conversion event and you're going to have that record convert. How do you do that? One way thought of doing that is you have to look at whether or not you were the one who approached them or whether that company is approaching you, because all of a sudden you are putting the highest importance around each account and you have to try and keep them unique. You don't want to have duplicate accounts. So if you went and contacted that particular lead, that person, and they came back and said, yep, I'm interested, then you can create an opportunity and also convert them to an account and contact in Salesforce. So that's pretty clean. It's less clean when, for example, through some inbound marketing, someone at that company finds you. Maybe you've got a web to lead set up so that an opportunity is created automatically. However, you're going to have to go back and see whether or not you have that lead record, maybe not that same person, but at least the same company, And if you do, you've got to somehow convert and attach them over to an opportunity. Let's, I'm going to flip over for 1 second to a very good article that I was looking on this. So actually this one here is one on the Salesforce site itself where they're talking about how to do it. Mostly you'll see that the arguments are made for taking this prospect and taking them and putting everyone into accounts and then using type. But as I said, I didn't want to do that. And then most of the people who are on this particular thread are asking Salesforce to try and make a lead have multiple contacts per lead record. To my knowledge, that isn't possible. So here's another one where this takes a different tack, and this actually outlines very well, this blog post, the data hygiene issues that fall into it. What it happens to talk about are, you can go with target accounts, so that's another way, I guess, to raise the importance of certain accounts that you want, and then that might be the 1 out of 4 that have already had some contact. In this case, though, we're going to keep it really simple because unlike what this blog post talks about, we're going on the assumption that you only have 1 or 2 Salesforce users, so we don't have to worry too much about assigning to different users and having problems there. So back to my diagram. In option 2, what we can do is we have a single account that has 3 contacts in our other CRM. When we're moving it over, going beyond this arrow into Salesforce, into our new record type, we're not really going to worry about the fact that leads aren't unique. We're just going to carry them over 1 to 1, and that each one of those leads happens to be the same account, but we're not really worried about that. Then when one of those gets moved over because of our marketing into an opportunity, and we actually create an account and a contact record, whichever of those 3 leads we picked, we're going to take that over. We're going to assume their address is correct, and what needs to happen then is we should see whether or not there's any point in attaching other contacts from that same lead source to the existing record for things like, let's say we've updated the mailing address for the company, but we don't have these other leads here were left behind in that shift. So whenever they move over, they would need to be attached to the updated account so that they also reflect the new mailing address. So those are the 2 options that we see ahead of us.